Hi guys, this is Kyle from Atomic Bronco. Today I just wanted to go through my song, the Heartbreaker, the Midnight Croquet remix, which is on my new, which Midnight Croquet is my house music kind of pseudonym that I'm releasing music under as well. This is on my Nightflowers remix EP, and it's also featured on the MSG up and coming playlist. I was lucky enough to be selected as the MSG up and coming artist of the month, and they asked me to put together a playlist of the best new London up and coming acts, and so I did and featured this song on the playlist as well. But you can go over to atomicbronco.com to check that out. But yeah, let's just dive into the song. So this is kind of my project file, and I would have started with a lot of the original songs. So I just wanted to see what we could do. So if we listen to this is mostly the stems to the original song. And I was just kind of trying to go through this just to see what I wanted to use. So I knew I wanted to use acapella for sure, so I used like a wet version of the acapella and then also a dry. And the wet has a lot of effects and stuff on it. Yeah, which you can hear there, which worked really well for the original song, and it fit it. I thought that worked pretty well. But when you start having to use that like delay and stuff already, that's already baked into the track, it gives you less options. So what I did is I used the dry version of it, and used put my own reverb and delay on it. So I used a lot of this. I used some of the guitar parts. I ended up using I used that sound a lot. I used the guitar solo, and I used the bass. So I didn't really do much with the drums, even though the drums work for the song, but it's I wanted more of a four on the floor kind of vibe, and so I just really couldn't see how I was going to use them. But I used this like fuzz bass, which is the main riff of the original song, and I used a lot of that. So into the main song. So the drums I will get to in a little bit, but I would have started with this main bass part. So I knew I wanted to use that, and I kind of took the bass and I chopped it up a little bit, and then went back to the same note. So it's a little different chord progression, and it hits more on that C sharp note more often. So that's the main bit for like the verses and stuff. And what I did is I added a bunch of distortion with this little radiator. I'm doing quite a bit of work here. And then just because the sample, with this much distortion, it's got a lot of ring to it. I don't know how else to put it. But if I take all this off and leave the distortion on, you can really hear towards the tail end, it just kind of holds like a harmonic that I didn't notice until I really started working with this sample. But you can kind of hear it there, right there. That part, and I was trying to do whatever I could to get rid of that. So I put in this gate, which kind of cuts off the tail end of those. So you can see it go there. But then I thought that was kind of jarring as well. So I added in these, or put in these, took this like resonant frequencies out. And I added 2 of them just to try to, you can see here, it's like just holding that note. And so I added 2 of these, and that seemed to do the trick to get rid of them. So I've got this EQ to basically take the low end out when we get into this break part. So which during this breakdown kind of thing, you want to take the bass out, and then right at the beginning of verse 2, you bring all that bass back in. which I thought was cool. And then I've also got an API that's boosting up the lows and then some of the high mids as well, just to make it pretty bitey. And yeah, that's most of the sound. Although I did also send a ton of return to this bass return track, which I put basically like a filter taking out all the lows, and then a ping pong delay from Echo Boy, and then a reverb, like a Pro R, to, if I solo just this, yeah, you can see here that effect, just back and forth, a little kind of faint, and with it. Yeah, and it seemed to just kind of make it a little more interesting sound, fill out the space a little more. And so, yeah, it's most of that bass. And then we get into the synth bass, kind of the drop, if you will. And so this is actually two bass sounds together. So it's actually, this main bass is like a TRK 01 from in Reactor, which is nice. This is really good for like EDM kind of sounds. And it just wasn't bitey enough, so I added in some distortion, some harmonic saturation from Spectre, from Waves Factory, which is a great plugin. Some compression, got a CLA 76, which is nice, and then some more another EQ to boost up the bass, and then another kind of trick, basically filter, kind of to take these off towards the end of the song. And that's the main bass sound, but then I've also got this sub bass. Yeah, which might be hard to hear if you don't have headphones on, which is just a Serum sub sine bass. Yeah, and those together just kind of fills out the bass sound. That's the primary focus of the song, is the bass. Then we get down to the guitars. So like I said, I've got this, which I use in certain parts of the song to just kind of note transitions and stuff. So so use that, which I like. And then I've also got this like guitar solo, because if you're gonna play a guitar solo, might as well use it as many times as you can. So at the second drop, it comes in. Which is basically the same solo from original. I just added a RC20 retro color, just kind of add a little bit of wobble and quite a bit of distortion, just to lo-fi it up a little bit. And then this rhythm guitar is basically the same off the thing. So then we get into the vocals. We've got like I said, the dry acapella, which then I added some rhythm delay. I've got this rhythm delay is like a Valhalla delay, so like a tape echo kind of emulation. And then I've got a sidechain compressor to the vocals, which basically turns down the delay whenever the vocals are going. So yeah, you can kind of hear it there. So it's quiet now, and then comes back up. So that's nice. It kind of helps the delay sit in with the vocals a little better. I've got a slapback delay, which is going to be an Echo Boy that's set to like a 16th note. So I've got a hall reverb, a plate reverb, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I've got this like harmonic, the thing from Softtube. It's like analog saturation processor. It's great. I love this thing. It's really great for like vocal saturation. And yeah, so I use that, quite a bit of it actually. Yeah, that's quite a bit of drive. So let's see if we can, without this.
It's left and right, it's left and right, collecting those eyes.
Yeah, it's just a little dirtier, like a little more bite to it. And then I'm doing another kind of pretty big amount of distortion through this RC20. So if I take both of these off.
Collecting those
Yeah, it's not.
She's got the tools to
And that's
make
just
him
a
sweat.
little more presence. Really fits the song a lot better. And so that's kind of the main part of this. But then I've also got these format shifted things that I do in the pre-chorus. So, which is just the vocal doubled. And then I've added a little altar boy format shifter, which you can just mess with the formats. But I really like the whole make it sound like it's lower, even though it's the same pitch. So Zoo, you ever seen or listen to any of his songs? He does this a lot. Yeah, it's a cool technique. This has also got a little flanger on it just to give it a little bit of movement. And then in the drops, I've done the same thing, but then actually brought it down an octave. So then these all together just makes it fit in the song a little more. Because these don't jump out a ton in the mix, but they do add some body to the vocals, which I think really helped. And these are panned different sides, just to kind of fill it out a little more. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for the vocals and all the stuff from the sample. And then we get into the synth. So I've got this Europa lead from Reason Rack. So this Europa synth is a great synth. A little bit of chorus from Native Instruments. And then this, what's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here is this UAD chord digital delay. So I'm automating the effect amount. So you can see this here. So this is drier, right? And then bring it up and it's kind of more in it. Yeah, I just think that gives the whole lead some movement. Yeah, so I really like that. That's a big part of it. I've also got this lead part during the verses, which is just a massive synth. And it kind of goes with it kind of plays back and forth with the bass. Yeah, so that kind of adds a little bit of flavor to the mix. I've got this Prophet from Arturia, Prophet V, which I found this preset, as embarrassed as I am to say, but I use this as a riser for this second break part, and it just works so well. Right, so that's nice, and I just filtered out a lot of the lows. I've got another Prophet doing pad duty, which is works pretty well. I think for the big side chain compression thing, which is typical of dance music. Just giving it a little bit of background kind of stuff. And then I've got, for the kind of background pad stuff in the verses, I've got this synth from Labs from Spitfire Audio, the Night Tube. These are just great because it just, it's not super prominent, but it does do something in the mix. And then we've got this marimba, which is it's an Ableton synth with an arpeggiator. and then it's got this pan man that's moving it around in the mix, around your ears. And then in the second pre-chorus, I add in a ton of this Galaxy tape echo from UAD, so like a space echo kind of thing. But it, I basically just automate the feedback up, and then I leave it here. So this is like at the self-oscillating feedback level, and at the end of this, it'll just hang. So, and it just stays like that, and it just gets gnarlier and gnarlier as we go through this thing. And I just left it in because it just sounded so cool. But like the whole second drop has got that in the background. And if you let it go long enough, which it does happen sometimes, it'll just keep getting louder and louder. And then at the end, you taper it back down. But yeah, I just thought that was, a happy accident. And then the final kind of synth that I've got, this is the last thing I did, is a synth lead for the drop. Which is just a serum, like hypersaw kind of thing. And I just needed something out of this first drop. So, because I had the guitar solo at the second drop, I initially didn't have this in at all. So what I did is I've got this, added a bunch of distortion, some bit reduction, and then I've got this filter that I just basically took the highs off, because at the beginning of this drop, I needed something, because initially this is what it was going to be. And it just wasn't enough. It wasn't high energy enough. So I added this in at the end, but I also didn't want to take away from the vocals, so that's why I took the highs off. And then it just stays there the rest of the song. Because I've got this guitar solo for the second drop. Anyway, one of the last things I did, and I think it helped out the song a lot. So then we'll just go through the drums real quickly. So I would have started off with this test kind of drum kit once I had the bass and knew what I was doing. So I liked this beat enough that I just left it in. So I would have started just like drawing this like pattern, and it just worked so well that I just kept it in the song at kind of a lower level. And then towards the breakbeat, I put in a retro color kind of thing and automated the lows out of it. And then towards here, it just all kicks back in. Right. So, this just works so well with the whole song. I just kind of left it in. Usually I'll do this just to kind of find a beat and then take it out, but it just works so well. So I've got the kick, which is a couple sounds layered together, and then some compression. The snare is similar, is actually 3 snares layered together, and so those together doesn't sound that crazy, but it does like really fill out the song pretty well. I've got these claps and snaps that I do this in a lot of my songs. I will put like 4 or 5 of them, find rhythms and stuff, and then I'll pan them to different parts in the mix, right? So they all end up in different parts of your head, and then those together. I do that with the hi-hats as well. Yeah, so hi-hats, I've got a bunch of those. I think 5. They just come into different parts and do different things, and you can see the kind of patterns there. Little bit of percussion. I think I've only got this like wood block in like the last part of the song. Yeah, so nothing too crazy, and that's pretty much it. So I've got the drawn drums that I've done. which is what it would sound like, which is a good kind of groove, but it's pretty robotic because it's all drawn in. It's right on the grid. And so rather than going in and trying to like artificially create some swing by just moving these, I went in and added some loops, which just kind of helped tie everything together. So I've also got this this main loop that goes through the majority of the song, this little percussion loop. And it's pretty subtle, but it gives that kind of glue into the thing. And then during the verse, I've also got and this is about as loud as it ever gets, but with everything, so it all just kind of gives that vibe together. And then we've got it's pretty much it. I've got another little breakbeat loop just in this breakbeat part. Some cymbals just for like transition stuff. Some effects hit stuff that I use. So there's this that's the green guys that gets used quite a bit, which is just sent to a ton of rhythm delay. That same delay that the vocals is in. And then I've got two kind of at the end of this break. I've got this like, or maybe use this. So that gets used here. Yeah. Which in context works pretty well. Just a little transition, and then I've got these two sweeps, which I use here. Which again with that synth, all just kind of works to a pretty good little transition riser kind of thing. And then the last thing are these like white noise sweeps that I do, which is an operator with like the white noise, and then you automate the frequency and stuff. And then this has got a kind of like a fake sidechain thing that just kind of pumps it out a little bit. So yeah. And that is pretty much it. So, thanks for listening. I hope you guys like this. If you enjoy this type of content, let me know, and I'll try to make more of it. Hope to have more stuff coming out very soon. But until next time, I'm Kyle. Go follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff, at Atomic Bronco. Really appreciate your support. And until next time, have a great one.